Back to what I was saying. I got cut off. So Syrians don't want war. That's been said by. I don't get my news from CNN, but you have to watch CNN and Fox News and see what they actually say, considering they're on site. And it actually goes all the way back to the Pentagon, considering most of these things are on site video cameras. So Syria said they don't want war. Syrian soldiers have actually captured Russian soldiers, and technically they're POWs, being held as well as interviewed and wanting to know about what's going on and why they're being sent there. They said they didn't want war. They actually said they were sent over and they're being used as cannon fodder. And what I was getting at with Vladimir Putin, I'm not taking up for him at all. What I was saying is a lot of people don't understand the dynamics of what's going on. Every empire, dynasty, monarchy has had a history of slavery going on. The ruble is pretty much less than a penny right now. That's actually been stated on CNN and World News. Currency also in Syria is also plummeting. Politically, dynamically, economically, sociologically, many of the politicians are looking at all these areas from a money point of view. But what I was saying earlier is looking at the situation in duality. I'm not trying to do that. Both sides are actually using their own people to start a war, start a conflict, start an issue. When you look through documentation and history, whether it's the Mayans, Egyptians, Romans, even with the Roman Empire, that fell because of slavery. Egyptians, that fell because of slavery issues as well. Mayans, human sacrifice, slavery. When you look at all these situations, it has to do with some kind of inner conflict having to do with the people, even when you go all the way back to Jesus Christ. Whether you read the Quran or not, same thing, same issues having to do with spiritual warfare, spiritual enslavement. In the Bible, Jesus actually went on his pilgrimage and went to Persia, Tibet, India, came back, turned into the living word, was using all these things. And some may be considering this Bible thumping knowledge, but it's history. It's religious history as well as legal history. No matter how you cut it, you go back through it, it's documented. So when you go into, in my opinion, one of the largest corporations on the planet, which is the Vatican, you go through all these documentations. Uniform Commercial Code affects the entire planet. It is a global system. When you get paperwork from a legal entity such as the United States of America, it's always on that piece of paper, this person, the straw man, whatever your name is, versus the United States of America, or vice versa. So people don't generally get that kind of education, which is alarming considering a lot of these things used to be out. Now, if you go to a library these days, you're not going to find many uniform commercial code books because it actually pulls up case sightings as well as legislative history having to do with legal systems as well as court systems. Now, what I was saying prior in the video before, every country works with the uniform commercial code system because it has to do with contract law, maritime law, Black Six law. This is all biblical law put together. Up until recently, a lot of new things have been coming out, especially with H.R. 8791. That is the House resolution bill that the United States passed against the consumption of human flesh. And the reason why these things are so important is because they upgrade and update the legal system. I do not consume human flesh. I don't hang out with pedophiles. I don't push misinformation. I actually delve into the history as well as the case sightings and the actual documentation. What I was saying earlier about the president of Syria as well as the president of Russia, who was actually a former spy, he has to deal with intelligence all the time. Both sides do. Whether you're Mossad, whether you are KGB, whether you are CIA, whether you are FBI, whether you are military intelligence, all these intelligence agencies, bureaus, they have this knowledge free and at hand, whether it's in a database vault or whether it's an actual hard copy of this information. Moving forward. When you go into legal studies, many magistrates have to give up their citizenship. So there are people that actually take an oath of office and give up their citizenship to serve as a magistrate in the United States. Now, anyone that's ever taken the bar, the British accredited registry test, you know you have to study your butt off on that. You have to know all these case sightings, case history, who wrote what, who versus who, the time period, all these things come up. That's why I dive into these things. Now, the Quran, Talmud, Tafid, Dhammapada, Tamil, whether it's even the Necronomicon, Book of Maccabees, Apocryphas, Jubilees, all the way up into the 1600s when the construction of the Bible was made. All these books were put into the Bible, and many were actually hidden or not included in the Bible for the reason of hiding actual truth and giving someone an unfair advantage in the legal system. If you look at many of the people that actually hold office, whether it's magistrate, political, governmental, Senate, Congress, it's all the same. That's what you need to understand and get the full revolution on. That's the unfair part of it. That's what many of the other countries are dealing with embassies as well as over 800 U.S. bases that gives the United States jurisdiction in other countries. That's why we have diplomats as well as embassies.